Okay, that's my bit of authority. Yeah, well, obviously it's not great that you've got me chairing this meeting again, because it does mean that Pat's still not well, still in hospital, and there's a card going around that I think most people have signed now that I do want us all to send our best wishes to her for a good recovery. I don't think it'll be a speedy recovery, but we do want it to be good in the long run. So that's before we officially start, and then it's public question time. There's nobody from the public here, so we can go on to the, I've got to check if anybody wishes to record the meeting. Nobody over and above the official one? Thank you. And then we've got to accept apologies for absence, and we've had them from Councillor Bellamy, Councillor Collins, Councillor Rostrom and Councillor Ryan. Yes, so we all accept those apologies? Yeah. Okay, and then we've got to receive members and officers' personal and disclosable pecuniary interest in items on the agenda. We've all seen the reminder that's fully explained and explicit in the agenda. So, any interests on the agenda over and above? Okay, and then 252691. Any written requests for new DPI dispensations?
There were new DPI dispensations for Councillor Whitehall and yourself, which have gone out over the last week or so, I think, isn't it?
That's not a DPI dispensation, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. A dispensation?
Yeah.
Why DPI dispensation?
No,
Well,
it's
you
not
have to
done.
fill
It's
in
not
all-
changed.
I've got my personal
Yeah.
interest
Yeah.
filled in.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, but there are no requests for dispensations?
No.
No.
Right, okay. Okay, so, any items on the agenda that should be discussed in private? No? Okay, then moving on to confirm the minutes of the previous committee meeting, and I think you've got one point to note here. No, matters arising?
Yeah,
Well,
I've had no chance to submit the thing to the HMRC about VAT. We have an additional problem with VAT now because of this sponsorship thing, which Councillor Bailey kind of raised. So I think we're going to probably going to owe about 800 quid on VAT for the past couple of years for sponsorships. That'll come up a bit later. I don't know. Are you going to mention anything about that to Councillor Wilson when we're?
No, can I just mention something else?
Yeah.
Is this in to do with the minutes?
Only that Harry's stuck in traffic and he said he won't make it. I suppose that's an apology.
Okay.
Sorry, what was it you were asking me?
I was just going to ask if you were going to make, when you were doing your review of the grants working group, whether you were going to say anything about the whole VAT sponsorship malarkey.
I wasn't particularly can do that. Something we've considered.
I mean, it wasn't on the agenda for this week, but I think I'm going to probably have to mention it at the next meeting, because I think we probably will have to mention it to HMRC. I hadn't really factored in that we would need to be paying VAT on sponsorships, and we've spent about maybe 4,000 or 5,000 quid on sponsorship in the last 3 years, so we will owe about 1,000.
Okay, so we've got to bear that in mind when we look at the finances.
But we'll leave it till the next meeting. I'm just aware that it's something we will be considering.
Okay, so can we confirm the minutes of the last council meeting? Yes. Do we have to second and all that? Yes, so everybody approves them. And then we move on to grants, and the first A is to note the new grant evaluations. The first one from Home Health Forward. I thought that was great. I thought there were some really positive quotes in there about the community and the businesses and everybody coming together to make it a really successful event. So that felt like money well spent. Schools Cricket Club. Any comments on any of these from people? they were all very positive. A few good photos. I especially like the photos in the VE Day party. I thought, when we're considering publicity at the end, I thought that was, you know, a very joyful picture and quite a small amount of money spent for what looked like a very significant event. Okay, to consider any further action on grant evaluations?
The only additional invite we've had is Homebridge Cricket Club have invited somebody, which I presume will be Home Valley North councillors, to come and see their new benches, but this is when the season starts, so any Saturday after April.
And this is the Funford one. I mean,
No, Homebridge. It's not one of the new ones. It's one that we've already
we've done previously.
Yeah.
Okay, so Homebridge, can you remember that in, when is it?
I wouldn't know, from April, when
From April?
the cricket season starts.
I can pop round
You could
sometime.
do that.
It's about 150 metres from my front door.
Fabulous,
Yeah,
fabulous.
right, okay. Will you remember in April? Yeah,
Oh,
here the Willow one, what was it?
When it is the
Willow, what is it?
Leatherland Willow.
Willow, yes.
I've got
Please
three
do
some
it right,
benches.
First
Okay.
crowd house that and you straight out there.
And as is said, I mean, we did. So I sent out the requests for the grant evaluations of the last,
Yeah.
you know, the ones from Mars, and they nearly all came back, which
Yeah,
was
which is
remarkable, really.
It's good.
There's just a few
It's good.
outstanding.
Yeah, and it sounds like the ones that are outstanding, there's sort of good reason or.
Yeah, one was Home Village Hall. A few of them were just that they haven't managed to do the
Completed.
work yet for various reasons.
Yeah.
So they had genuine reasons, and the other one comes up, the Haybog thing, which comes up
Very
a bit
soon.
later on.
Yeah. Okay, in fact, that's the next item on
That
the
is the
agenda.
next item. on
It
the
is.
agenda.
The request for a grant change of use. I presume everybody's read all the information. Anybody want to make any remarks? Julia, sorry, councillor, what are you, councillor Lyles?
Well, I am today. In previous grant applications, we've always said the money has to come back in and then go back out, because that is just what we've always done, and I believe we have to stick by those rules, because when we do a reapplication, it's not that we won't say yes to that application, it's just that that is not what we gave the money for, and that is not what we agreed.
Okay, any further comments from anybody else? Feels that is what we should be asking them to do?
Do you want to raise that as a? Do you want to raise that as a motion?
No, well, I'd like to say that I believe it should come back like it always has done previously and goes back
I
out.
think we will be reconsidered
Yeah.
against the
Well,
criteria.
ask them to submit
Ask them to
your application.
submit a new application.
Just on that one, yeah, I agree with Joe on that, but also I've seen what they intended to use the money for.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, but you know, because we've set this precedent, I think we should stick with that one.
Yeah.
But definitely, I can't see anything wrong with what they're asking for.
I think
It's just
That's
the
almost
process.
will be considered next time. I think it's brilliant that they've managed to get one without spending £1,000 though, so that's fantastic.
I did explain to them that it was
That was
quite
probably.
likely that this would happen, and they would have time to apply before the 31st of January.
Okay,
They
so
are
you've
aware,
alerted
they are
them
aware,
to that.
yes, yeah.
Okay, so that's a decision. Do you want to make that as a motion?
Yeah.
So Joe's motion obviously was that they have to return the money and apply again for a grant.
Yeah.
So, and I've got to second Joe's motion on that one then.
Okay, everybody agree? Yeah. Okay, the next one is communication from New Mill Scouts regarding money set aside. We've all been given the information on that. Do people feel, anybody want to make any comments on that? No? Are we, yes,
I was going to say, I think we should let it roll for the time being.
keeping it rolling?
Yeah, that would be my view.
Anybody disagree with that? So we're all happy to let it roll as a rolling grant?
Well, yeah.
It's not rolling
It's
grant.
not rolling grant, it's a
Earmark
earmark,
reserve,
I mean,
yeah.
earmark reserve, yes, okay.
You want to get a vote on it?
Do we need a vote?
Yeah, you do a vote. Thank you.
Okay, and then the next one, D, is the grants working group. Councillor Wilson, do you want to report back on the grants working group?
No, but I will.
You do willingly.
some of the things that we've been looking at is updated wording for grant priorities, so there's a new list of priorities, an updated list.
They're very similar, aren't they?
They are, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they're just perhaps more precisely worded.
New branding going onto the application and evaluation forms. We've been considering how we deal with any out of cycle grants that come along, and I think we've reached some sort of a resolution on that. And considering publicity, I have to say as well, there are lots of items being raised over the meetings where we've rejected them, and I'm not going to go through all those things, but we've considered a lot of things, I think, and ultimately decided that actually we were less happy as we were, as we are. As Rich says, VAT is one thing that I'm not sure we've quite finalised that, have we yet?
Yeah, it's
Again, I think at the next meeting we will know.
yeah, I think so.
So we have one more meeting arranged in February, early February, 4th of February. The thoughts are that then that will come back to F&M initially on the 2nd of March, and then to full council on the 23rd of March, so that should all be in place for the next council year.
And what is important about that is that the criteria that is established should make sure that there is more objectivity, that we're giving grants that match the criteria. And we want to ensure that, I think you're going to say this, that we have a grants policy.
Yes, that's it.
That's why we're extending the working group just a little bit longer, to have a policy that we can all be comfortable with and adhere to. Yeah?
Yeah.
Any further comments on the grants?
So
Working group?
there'll be a formal report for the next F&M, hopefully.
Yeah.
We're
And-
finished.
Yes, and then hopefully again approval by full council at the next full council meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Ruling grants. Family Business Association were advised before Christmas to forward the paperwork, and that's not been received, so that's deferred until March. And then the other rolling grant agreement is from Wooldale Community Group, which all that paperwork is in the appendix. Any comments on that? No? So are we all happy to approve the £1,000 being paid to Wooldale Community Group? Yeah, yeah, this seems like a very good local initiative that's been run very on a small budget that impacts quite a large number of people, so great. Okay. The next one is the chair's expenses, and our chair, Glenn, is here. So Glenn, any comments on this?
No, I will look into what I need to do to move the money to an appropriate community.
Okay, thank you. Do I have to do anything with that? I have to, no, we don't have to consider all, just noting it, okay? And then the schedule of payment, we've got to note the finalised schedule of payments for November, December, and the draft payments
No,
for January.
no,
Well, we've got to approve.
I sent out a note today saying you've got to approve the third one, the one for January, because there's a couple there that need approving to pay, which is the Mosedale Gillett vision
yes.
study fees and the other one, Redback Home for Promotional Videos.
Okay,
Which were very good, they were very good, those videos.
Yeah.
Good.
I moved to approve those payments.
good, excellent. And the approval of the
Do you approve?
architects, we were approving that, yeah?
Yeah.
We all have to approve it, yes, okay, we're all approving the payment to Redback.
Thank you very much.
And the payment to the architects, I hadn't
Yes.
realised that this was being paid in part over a period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are we, any questions about that, or are we all happy to approve that payment? Yes.
You should just approve the whole list, I mean, don't do them individually, you'll be here forever sometimes.
There were the only two that were, had to be approved, weren't they?
They were, but you'd be better off just saying who wants to approve the whole.
Oh, okay,
the whole-
full shebang, okay. Anything else we should note in all this very impressive paperwork?
I mean, as we discussed earlier, it's for you really to look through and see if there's anything that pops out of you that you're worried about, or you think is noteworthy, or you want a bit of information on.
Okay,
From my point of view, there's nothing really
anything?
that needs stating, but
The one thing I did pick out was the fact that the payment to the patient transport in Honley, that payment has been made to them, I can't quite remember when, but we have been informed that they're ceasing to operate.
that's true, yes.
So, are we,
This is not on the agenda though,
oh, but it's in our payments.
yeah, but whatever we do with it is not on the agenda.
We can't discuss it until we've got information to then discuss it on the agenda.
Right,
I only
Okay, well, I've noticed
I only got the news
that the payment has been made to them.
that is true, yes.
So we,
That is
that's
to know.
all I'm pointing out,
Yeah.
that's, okay.
But you know,
Stick to the rules, Jane.
I'm trying,
No,
I'm trying.
No one wants that
the
job.
point is,
I understand
the
why.
point needs sharing that, yeah, they have closed
Yeah.
the patient transport, and we'll probably need to discuss at the next meeting if we do anything, because we only paid them £1,000 a few months ago, so,
It seems very sad to me that they've ceased, because we've just really had an evaluation from them and had been very confident that it was money well spent. So
And they've been going for years, so it must
Exactly,
be
yeah.
something unexpected, so
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure
is.
we'll wait the outcome.
it's
The
quite sad.
payments we're approving here are services already provided.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so have we got to note the accounting summaries? We're just noting this for November, and for December. And then we have the third item here is to consider, as per the guidance in the SAPPP Practitioner's Guide, the committee must approve the bank reconciliations cross-referenced with bank statements, and this must be minuted.
Sad as I am, I've been through them all and they are all.
Thank you.
No, but I was waiting to say that.
You have to, that's the job.
Thank you for that. So we can approve these bank reconciliations. Yeah, do we have to vote on this?
You do.
We do have to vote on this, okay. And the chair in a second signature. I don't think my signature counts for this, does it? Because I'm not on.
Yeah, I'll probably, if a couple of mandated councillors wouldn't mind hanging around to
Just
sign
to
them,
sign
it would be
that.
helpful.
Okay, thank you. And then councillors have to review the draft income and expenditure report for November. For December. The only note with that is that Bunford Civic Hall Community Trust still owes the parish council for the reimbursement of insurance costs, but I assume that will be coming at some
I
point.
hope so, it
We
didn't come
hope
last
so.
year before the end of the year.
Oh,
It could eventually come,
have you
but,
sent him to reminder?
I've spoken to
You
them.
spoke to that.
I'm sure they're not going to disappear, we know where they are.
Okay, and the
Not far from
expenditure
here.
side, all of these are worthy of note, I think, nothing significant. Any comments on any of those? To consider any further actions on income and expenditure against budget? No further actions, okay. Earmark reserves, RFO to report, over to you.
Well, I mean, the only, not an awful lot to say, to be honest. The only thing that I've noted here is, I was expecting, Honley Business Association to put in the rolling grant paperwork, so we've still got £1,560 left in the rolling grants earmark reserve, which I wasn't expecting to have. And then obviously the other bit is that the money from the tourism earmark reserve is going on the videos, so that's those are two items that you know, need note making about.
Okay, has anybody seen the Honley Business Association ones, the tourist ones yet? I know, Joe, you said you liked the redback ones. Have you realised that we did one with a company in Honley? And they're more general as well.
I was in the meeting when we approved to do both,
Yeah, and have you seen any, because these ones were coming out after Christmas.
I haven't,
Only one of them.
Only one of them's been out so far.
was it something about walking around Honley?
That's
Yeah.
bits and pieces all
Yeah.
over the show, yeah.
Yeah, we have seen it then,
Yeah,
That's
so
quite a good, it wasn't a guess, it was I think I have seen it.
no, so there'll be two more
Spend
going
my life on
out.
social media now.
So, you know, again, I think that was money quite well spent.
They were very,
They were good.
Very, very good videos, weren't they? Do you know, like from promoting, they were very good. They
Yeah.
were, you know, you can't really, for the amount of money that they asked for, I thought they were very good.
Okay, well, we've got to bear that in mind when we're thinking about the best ways of supporting businesses in the future, because I think it.
That's not on the agenda.
Sorry.
Next.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
using our businesses,
No.
Okay,
We're going
right.
on the record tonight, aren't we? You could be patch ready.
You can't be past record, it's already gone.
Oh, really? Was it as short as that?
About 50.
Okay, right. I'll try my best. The next one is the civic and the trustees to report. So, Andy, are you happy to report on this?
Yes, not much to say really, over and above what's in the pack that we've all received anyway. Just a few dates, I guess. We've got the vision meeting with the architects coming up on the 3rd of February,
Yeah.
which we're all invited to. We have another vision working group meeting on the 5th. Don't know whether you want to say anything about that.
Yeah.
Jenny?
Yes, I would.
And then we have the next trustee meeting on the 12th of February.
12th of February. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, the Civic Vision Working Party had its first meeting a short time ago, which was very useful in terms of making that partnership between the trustees and the parish council well, more effective, I think. I think we should have set this working group up quite some time ago, but we've had a really good reply from the architects saying that, you know, now is a good time to be moving forward and making some decisions. So I think it's a good time for the parish council to be having a good look at those documents that have been sent out by the architects before you come to the presentation on the 3rd of February. So that if you've got any questions or point to raise at that meeting, I think that meeting is really quite crucial. You might want to be thinking about whether you think the needs of the parish council have been met. It looks to me that this meeting, this room is still being the proposed room for future parish council meetings. You might want to be thinking that it's not the best space to have productive meetings. So have a good look at those, because I think it is important that we let the architects know the requirements of the parish council. So before that meeting on the 3rd of February, have a good look at those plans and be ready to ask questions. I'm very pleased that the architect has sent the suggestion to the working party that an expert in finance and project management, a specialist in heritage buildings, is going to come along to that meeting to have a initial input with some ideas. And I think everybody's, well, I'd said today if anybody was against that to let me know, but it now looks as though we can invite this specialist to that meeting on the 3rd. And then the working group will meet again on the 5th when we've got all that information together. Anything I've missed from the working?
Can I just ask a question? This is related partly to this item, I think partly to what I think we were approving just a few minutes ago, which was a stage payment effectively to the architects, which I think is for the Vision project, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do we have in place in terms of the outputs that we're going to be getting? Are the payments conditional on any outputs from the architect?
There is an agreement with expected outcomes, and there are numbered steps along the way. I don't know whether those payment, I didn't know until today actually, but we haven't paid that 22,000 altogether initially. Do you know why it's been a staggered payment?
No.
Does anybody?
I'd have to look through the,
Well, it'll have been agreed, won't it?
Mm.
It'll have been in the original agreement with the civic, because it's the civic that's dealing.
Yeah.
No, apparently it was the parish council that paid for it, and Jen, can I ask you if you know this?
I think the civic initiated it, didn't
They
it?
initiated, but then asked
And
us
then
to
the council
take,
picked it up.
yes, so I
Yeah.
think the agreement, am I right, Jen, that the agreement is between us and the
It
architect
is,
now?
it absolutely is, yes, that's right, because that was enabling us to claim the VAT back.
Yes, and do you know why we're making staggered payments?
I think that's just the way the architect's chosen to do it, because in their view, I'm assuming they're thinking they did that first vision meeting, so they haven't asked for it all up front. They're invoicing us as and when they've done activities with us.
Yeah, it's actually, you know,
It's
it's
broken
laid
down.
out as, you know, we're being paid X for X.
Okay,
It's
I
not
don't think
a-
I've
it's
seen that documentation, but
Well, you
you will
wouldn't,
have,
yeah, you wouldn't.
you will, somebody must. Yeah,
Well, the council's on the bank mandate to,
okay,
That is usually how architects work on big projects,
okay.
bit by bit. Yeah,
Okay.
because you might get annoyed with them and sack them off and get another set, so then, you know what I mean? So,
I was going to say, which comes back to my first question really.
Yeah.
If we do get annoyed with them,
Yes,
can we withhold payments?
I don't think you could withhold payments from what they've done, but you could look at whether there's a termination agreement and they will build money as well, because we might be completely unreasonable and not. At the end of the day, architects are like visionaries, aren't they? They're a bit creative and sometimes they get frustrated
They're
with
running business.
restriction. Yeah, well, yeah, but all I'm saying is that that's
we're
sort
asking
of,
them for a vision there, so we should be.
I'm just saying, that's how they
I know,
work, innit? And they're not exactly Paul Pierce, so I don't think they're short of vision.
Well, I think it should be quite an exciting time for the civic to be bringing the repairs and the maintenance and the vision all together, so let's hope that this year we can move that forward positively. Any more comments? Consider any further actions? No?
Or maybe you want to check the document. There's my suggested action.
Yes, okay. Okay, Holly Library, there's no actual report. I mean, I think the one that we came last time was so thorough. Alison, Councillor Morgan, have you got anything as our representative? Glenn?
Well, the only thing I will say is that there was a trustee meeting at the end of February which has been put back a week. And it's been put back a week in order to review and accept recommendations for tenders for the extension. So they're obviously progressing
Yeah.
what they're going to do next. It's just that by the time that it comes in, they have to put the meeting back a week so that we can look at all those tenders that have come in and decide which route they're going down.
Okay. I mean, it's great that they've now actually got the money from the land charity.
Yeah.
I think we should be pleased that the land charity has finally managed to sort out the legalities and made it absolutely legit that money can be donated to both the library and the
This is
civic.
not for this meeting.
Well, because it's Honley Library and reported on what's happening there, I think it's worth saying, and there was a big advert in Tito that they got that money, which is great. So that's all to do with the library, and to consider any further actions regarding the parish council's engagement with Honley Library with the Friends. We're all happy with how it's proceeding. Okay, 2526-100, tenancies, allotments, we're noting that you're sending out the paperwork in respect of the new leases, and just to commence on the 1st of April. Yeah. One tenant giving in her notice. Anything you want to report now?
the person at the top of the waiting list has said that she does want it, so that will be filled by the 1st of April. Yeah.
Great. Garages, the invoices have been sent out.
Yeah, and as it says, this committee approved the VAT being deducted from the overall charge, so that's how it will be sent out and passed on to the tenant with that breakdown.
Thank you. The Darkside building, does anybody from service provision want to report on the current situation? Is that still waiting progress with various reports? Thank you. 101 internal control checks. We're not Councillor Green to report on this.
My report is that I'm doing it tomorrow morning at 10:30. If anyone wants to join in, you can welcome. Oh, sorry.
Did that.
Thank you for doing that, Councillor Green.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Banking, again, RFO Deputy Clerk.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. Personally, I think it's going very well, the banking system. I just wanted to make one point. If you could make an extra check about something, it's because I made this mistake, which if I was a person who was impoverished, would have been very helpful to me, but it was just a genuine mistake. But I just want you, when you're checking the payments that are set up, would you also check, I'm talking here particularly about payroll, because I put them into the future, so I set them up on that day, but they're set up to be paid on the 15th of the month. Now, a couple of months ago, everybody else's I set up to pay on the 15th of the month. My own, I forgot to set it up in the future, so I was paid like on the 7th of the month or something like that, which is a bit dodgy. So, could you just make sure that they are set up? They're all set up for the middle of the month. I'm not talking to you here. I'm talking to Councillor Wilson,
Just thinking, who sets that up?
Councillor Bailey, etc.
You have made a refund.
And Councillor Morgan.
I take it you made the refund.
Well, I just let it ride. It was money that was coming to me anyway. I mean,
I'm not interested.
Put all 1.08 pence.
Zero interest.
Exactly.
But if you could just have a look, and it also applies to the maintenance contractors. I normally set up that towards the end of the month. So if I forget, just check. I mean, it doesn't matter. Anyway, John's case, because he's already done the work, but I normally tell him he's going to be paid at the end of the month. So if you could just check that in the future. But otherwise, I think the banking's going very well. The councillors respond very quickly when they're asked to pay for things. I've had no problem with it. I don't know how the councillors think it's going.
It should take minutes.
Yep. Great.
All okay? Okay. So the next item on the agenda is to recommend a precept for Holme Valley Parish Council. So we've already set the budget, so we're not going to go over that. We're just looking at the options. Is everybody clear about how these two are different? It's because there are now more Band D houses, so there's more money coming in because there are more Band D houses. So,
Want to get me to talk?
yes. No, I've got it absolutely crystal clear in my head now, but I'm sure you will explain it more coherently than me.
Right. So in the past we've tended to give a couple of options in terms of the precept. Now you are at liberty to choose your own precept amount, but it has to be a calculation. It has to be a genuine reason for it. I've just given two options here, which I think are kind of sensible and have some sort of logic to them. The first one is, as has been discussed earlier, the option A1 is what will happen to the precept if we kept the household charge the same as last year. So the Band D household charge from last year was £41.52. If you multiply that by the new tax base figure of 10,848.59, it will give us a precept of £450,429. I then also thought it might be sensible to give you a preset where it keeps the preset the same as last year. I'll explain why I think that is potentially sensible. A couple of years ago, we similarly kept the household charge the same. The tax base had gone up a bit, but because the household charge had stayed the same, I didn't think there was anything newsworthy in that. But it turned up in the press, and I think it was proper press. I think it was the Examiner, whose local politics correspondent.
Did you say examiner?
So,
And proper.
I even caught your face then when I said proper paper.
well, I didn't mean it was one of these web. I didn't mean it was one of these web news stories. And they immediately saw a story where they could stir the pot a bit, and the headline is Home Valley Parish Council puts up preset by £3,000. The Parish Council didn't actively have to do anything; it just happened because of the tax base going up. And then they interviewed various representatives of local groups doing a what has the Parish Council ever done for us kind of story. Including, there was a really irritating one where they were interviewing and she said, what has the Parish Council ever done for us? Well, we gave them 1,500 quid that year, we gave them 1,500 quid the previous year, we gave them a Community Champions Award, but they were still saying, what has the Parish Council done for us? But in the comments to the article, it was generally very positive to the Parish Council, to be honest, but just be aware that it has been used as a news story before, that even though the Parish Council hasn't done anything, that because the precept had gone up, they made it into a news story.
Okay, Councillor Woodson. I think your hand was the first to go.
If I read it correctly then, if we go with option B, that gives us everything that we agreed to in the budgets,
Yeah.
and it keeps the precept as it was.
No, lower.
Oh,
Yeah.
20.
Well, sorry, same as it was last year.
No,
No, reduces
because
it.
the small Dundee houses.
It
Yeah,
reduces
okay,
it by
okay,
24
And it keeps the
a
budget
year.
as we agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same funding.
Yes. Yes. Councillor Lyons.
I'd like to propose option B because I think life's hard enough without adding any increase when we've already agreed budgets and we're happy with the budgets we've agreed. And for the sake of negative publicity on either side of the table, I just feel like it's genuinely not worth it for £2.5 grand. So I just propose we keep it as it is. Or option B.
Any other comments before?
I'd like to second that proposal. I think if we can deliver what we said we were going to deliver and save, even if it's a very, very small amount for households, why wouldn't we?
It prevents that bad publicity. Councillor Osborne?
No, I was going
You
to
were going to say
second
the
it.
same. Any comments before we take it to a vote? Okay, so those, well, it was in favour of option B. If you're in favour of option B, we wanted to record it. Do we want to record it vote? Well,
I
it's
think
unanimous.
it's
Unanimous, but anyway,
Yeah, recall that nobody said no.
nobody said no. Unanimous then. Okay, that was straightforward. Okay, next item on the agenda is, have we considered ways in which the Parish Council can prioritise the climate emergency? Possibly through its grants, although when I looked at the evaluations, but maybe it's budget setting that we, oh goodness, I don't know, anything that anybody's noticed that where we've positively considered it.
Right, so, and this isn't, this isn't a plug for anything, I'm not, and I'd like, that's a declaration. I've just been sat here thinking about it. So recently, I obviously own a wind turbine, which everybody can see from everywhere in the valley. And you as a business, per energy consumer, can do this thing called energy, it's called licence exempt supply. So you can go to, for example, Longley Farms Wind Farm, which belongs to HOT, Home First Transition Town, and you can, and it is quite complex this, you can buy the energy directly from the wind turbine, and you get a reduction in your, well, it's completely green energy. You get a reduction in your line supply bills, you know, your standing charges, all those are exempt for the building, for any council building. You have to be a business, you can't do it as a person, so sorry Mary. And you can do it so that if the turbine is turning, probably Longlean a good option, somebody else's. If the turbine is turning, you can, if the solar on the roof of the Garside building is generating, you get that energy at a reduced rate from the supplier. So you pay what the market rate is. So you pay at home 20p for your electric. The market rate is actually only 6p. So you would pay just a licence exempt supply increase of 3 pence, and you would pay 9p for all the electric in this building. It would be completely green.
So
and it
you'll
would
have to
reduce
tell me
electric.
how the parish council can use this information.
So basically, you can encourage businesses and the parish to look at licence exempt supply electricity to save the parish electric bill, which would be a good use of service money, and all the energy that you consume is completely green and locally provided. Not by me, because I've already sold mine, but by all the wind turbines in the valley.
So we can only do this if it's not been exhausted by.
No, it's not considered, no,
But
because
you said you've already sold yours.
I sold mine to a private business, so that's different. I've sold all mine
So
to a
the
private.
toilets, they've got a battery
Solar.
store in it.
And then you sell it to the grid,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yes.
But you do a licence exempt supply to sell it to the business.
Is this only if you've got a surplus of
No,
the electricity?
well, yeah, but you've got to remember that there is 35 wind turbines in the valley that just sell to the grid. So instead of selling to the grid,
They could sell.
they can sell it to you as a local business.
Okay.
2.5 years it's taken me to do that.
So the civic then
Yeah,
could,
yeah.
Okay.
And it's all green energy and it's
Could
completely.
I ask you to give written or clear
I've
information
got
as
a
to how to
PowerPoint
do this?
presentation I'll send to Richard.
Okay.
But it's not from me because.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no, but the useful information that we can look at and
Nothing to do with
address
it, I don't get
it.
anything
Okay,
from it,
thank you
just
for that.
I've been doing that.
Thank you. Yes.
just on a slightly smaller scale,
Sorry.
I'll get down to Hunter Harriers if that's
Oh,
it,
yes.
to look at their solar panels and
Yeah.
batteries that we funded, so got a few photos, I'll send that in to Jen and we
Are
can.
you in them?
No. I have actually more.
You'll have to chop that out.
Yeah. But we can't, apparently we can't publicise anything yet anyway.
No, that's true.
Councillor Wetlow.
I'm not sure what's the best way to take forward the information that you've provided us. In other words, to get some action for the council out of it. I mean, procedurally.
Well, I think if we get all that information
Yeah.
on
Yeah, we can
PowerPoint, we
bring-
can
bring
bring
it
it
back.
on to the next.
Yeah.
Which meeting would it go to?
You'd have to go to the grants work, you'd have to go to a working group, wouldn't it? You
Yeah.
know, like service provision working group or because it is something you.
That's-
It's a climate action thing, really, isn't it?
It's,
Well, there ain't one of them.
no, this climate action is supposed to be on every agenda, which is why we're looking at it.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll send it to
Send it to
Richard,
me.
right, and then Richard
And
can
decide with
decide what you want to do with it.
Yeah, I think circulate it for everybody to get that
Okay,
information would
okay.
be useful. Yes, councillor Kerry. Yeah, great.
If we were changing our energy supply under normal circumstances, would that need a working group? And what would be the procedure for that? And why is this any different?
Would that be a
I
service
mean, yeah,
provision
I
issue?
think, well, you wouldn't necessarily have a working group, but I think service provision
Would probably,
would probably have
But that's the civic then, isn't it?
well, it depends what we're talking about.
What we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is it something that Holland Library could do as
Yeah.
well? So, you know, all our buildings going down that same route.
Yeah,
so we've got to look at this and then see the best way of applying it
Yeah.
for the benefit of lower bills. Councillor
I
Whitelaw.
think this makes sense to go on the service provision.
Yeah, service provision.
well, what I'll do is, right, I will get someone to, well, I'll send you the documents and then I will get somebody to contact you from an independent company to discuss it with you and walk you through it.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, happy with that?
Thank you.
And next time, it's just something I don't sign.
Don't say that.
What's the other thing?
I don't get anything, no, I don't get anything, I don't, it's taken me, it's because basically, I sell my energy to the grid for £6, they sell it to you for 23 pence. They don't actually do anything for it, I do all the work, I find it slightly annoying. So basically, the energy secretary, 2 years ago, said to me, there's a thing called licence exempt supply, but it's taken me 2 years to get it off the ground.
So this
And I
might take
finally
a
got
while.
it off the ground, and then I've gone to a company and they have backed it legally, and then they're doing it. But it was so that I could sell my energy directly to a consumer. I can't sell it to the people I wanted to sell it to, which was people.
Yeah.
I can only sell it to businesses.
Okay, so we'll have to look into the best way
Yeah.
of using this information. Thank you for that. Okay, the 105 is financial records going onto the website, and then the last item is publicising the work of the Hull Valley Parish Council. Well, the one thing that really comes to mind to me is that when they're saying what do the public get out of the Parish Council, at the time when the household charge is being set and people will be getting their bills, to actually tell them what excellent value for money this is. You know, the fact that it's, what is it, £41.52p, and for that they get a lot for that, you know, they get 200 benches, the civic, the toilets, and grants, you know. So I think this has gone out previously when the household charge is set. And I know that Gemma's done this, that she's put an article saying how what the precept is spent on, and obviously, well, I think it's excellent value for money, and I think we should be proud of what we can do with that household charge, because collectively it adds up to something significant. Councillor Whitelaw.
Are you arguing for somebody to write a press release?
Oh, well, because we always have, would you like to write a press release?
That's what I was suggesting, you're saying that's great.
It's always the last item on the agenda is publicising the work of the Hull Valley Parish Council, so
I would like to say that I think a press release along those lines would be very useful.
I absolutely agree. So would that be correct that that would be Gemma's role to do that?
Yeah.
Yes, so can we ask Gemma to write that on our behalf?
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
Are we specifically saying we want the timing to be when?
when the bill's going out, yes, yes.
I was going to say it can't be done before that, can it? It has to be done after.
Councillor
Can I
Osborne?
ask you to send the celebrations on
You
the
can,
round?
yeah, and can we say happy birthday to you as they get this right. Thank you for that. Thank you everybody, it's not bad timing, it's only 10 to 8, so